Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. If this is the first time that you join us online, welcome. And if you've already been with us in other activities, welcome back. My name is Georgina Capdevila, Cano, and I'm the creative learning producer at the CCI. And I'm super excited to be presenting this event tonight. It's going to be very special. So ideally, we would be all in the same room celebrating this, but we got to be grateful for the internet. So tonight is really about sharing and celebrating the amazing work that the diploma students have done. They're the first cohort of diploma students at the CCI, and we're super excited to share the work they've been doing. But before getting into details about the session tonight, I will briefly talk a bit about the CCI and the work we do. So the Creative Computing Institute, based in Camberwell in London, offers innovative new courses at the intersection of creativity and computational technologies. Also, a lot of research opportunities and a public platform to explore computer science and creative practice. And as part of our public program, over the last 2 months, 3 months, we've been running a series of online activities, which have included talks about the new MA courses, Q&As about our BSc and MSc programs, and also a very cool new initiative, the After School Club, which is a beginner and family-friendly series of online workshops that have been led by the amazing Jasmine Morris. Just so you can get a bit of more a sense of the institute, I'm going to play now a video that shows some lovely faces behind the institute and a bit of the atmosphere that we have there. So Tom, go ahead.
For me, the best thing about Creative Computing Institute is the sense of community that we're creating. This is one of the few places in the world where you can see things from an arts perspective and also a science and technology perspective at the same time. And that means that together everyone is talking about something they can't really talk about anywhere else.
I studied at University of Arts London. I was like the techie person in like traditional design environments where maybe some of the things I needed or the spaces or the conversations I wanted to have did not exist. So when I knew that the CCI was being created, I was always trying to find ways on how I can get involved.
This is the first cohort of students in the program. I've been really impressed at how much they've taken the materials we've given them and made them their own.
Every time I come in the building, the students are just like chomping at the bit to show their work to people. I think it'll be a very, very good career for them.
So I'm showing my first project on the diploma. I thought it would be interesting to explore what if we could see in sound rather than light.
So I did the week-long machine learning course and the P5.js course with the CCI, and it's really helped me sort of develop my practice and teach me more of the development side of coding.
It's really changed my mind about like what computation is, what it means to the world, what it means like to society at large. Like, in the course of a year, I've like really changed how I'm thinking about it.
We have a beautiful mission and a great social agenda, and we really want to positively impact the way tech works in society.
I think of computing as a craft exercise, like pottery or weaving. It's going to take you a long time to become a master of it, but the first steps should be approachable by anyone. And I think that's an important part of what we do here at CCI.
Amazing. Thank you, Tom, for playing the video. So hopefully that gives you a bit more of a sense of what the CCI is like. And now we're going to jump straight into the session tonight. So as I mentioned earlier, tonight's the first ever CCI Diploma Show Party. And we'll have the chance to hear firsthand from Joel Gethin Lewis, who's the diploma main tutor. And also we're going to invite 3 current students that have been undertaking the diploma this year, Eunah, Max, and Bea. So finally, like the end of the session is probably the most exciting part of the evening. So basically, we're going to have the opportunity to visit an amazing web-based multiplayer version of the CCI campus that the diploma students have collaboratively built, which includes their projects. So basically, you're going to have the chance to wander around a gallery as we were there in real life. You will have the chance to eat from a giant pizza, pet dogs, and many other fun things. So really can't wait to share that with you guys. And before handing it over to Joel, we're going to play a brief showreel that kind of gives you a sense of what the projects are and what we're going to be talking about later. Lovely. Now I'm going to hand it over to Joel. Joel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone. I'm Joel Gethin Lewis. Thanks for the introduction, Georgina, and I am one of the tutors on the Diploma in Creative Computing here at CCI. And before we get into some case studies of those three amazing students that's going to be coming up in a second, I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk a little bit about what's been going on the CCI Diploma in Creative Computing course this year, and also what our plans are for next year. So this has been the first year of the Diploma in Creative Computing. We've had an extraordinary time. We've had around 30 students from all over UAL come and take a year out from their BAs, or whichever subject they're studying in, and come and work with us at the CCI, the entire research and creativity department here at the CCI, and most importantly, inject themselves with some absolutely wonderful creative computing knowledge in a whole series of different fields, from machine learning to physical computing, and also one of the most important things right now, which is what are the ethics and criticality around some of these fields. It's so essential that we have that incorporated into what we do here at the CCI right from day one. I'm really, really excited to be able to showcase the work of three of the extraordinary students that we've had here at the diploma over the past year. They've named themselves, well, no, I gave them the name diplomats, and they've kind of grudgingly taken it up. But that actually sums up a lot of what I think the course is here to do, right? It's here to not only give you the skills and abilities to think critically about what's going on in this world of creative computing. But one of the reasons that I was so eager to teach on the diploma course is the fact that all of these students that you're about to see are about to go back to their original BAs and complete their final third year at a variety of the colleges across the UAL family. And I think that's why diplomats is a great name for these students, because now that they've taken on this knowledge, they are now going back to their respective states, if you can think of these various courses across UAL as that, and hopefully bringing a lot of this knowledge into their practice, but also their fellow students and lecturing teams. So without further ado, I think this is a perfect opportunity to start the showcases. I'll hand back to Georgina and the first student who's going to be talking tonight, which is Eunah. So I'll hand over to you guys. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Eunah, and I prepared a presentation of what I have been working on for last month, and here it is. Please play the video.
Hello, I am Eunah Lee, and my project is Haru's Adventure, which is an interactive storybook for kids using marker tracking. Here is a demo of the whole story. The video is faster than real life to save time.
Hello there, I'm Haru, a starfish. I was showing a girl in the backyard and a wave flew me here. Could you help me find my way back home? Thank you. I had a map to help me find my home, but I lost it. But I heard that there's a key that will help us get through this adventure. Have a look around. Do you see a key hidden anywhere in the screen? Try to click it and find out what will happen. Show the key picture to your webcam. According to the map we just saw, my home is in the middle of the ocean. To get there, we need to build a boat. Above, there are 3 pieces of material that could be assembled into a boat. Use your key to grab each material and place it in the right place. Ready? Let's build. Yay! We're almost there. Now, use your key to launch the boat we just built. Then sail the boat to pick me up from the island. And when I am on the boat, drop me off at the X point. That is where I live. Ready? Let's go home! Now you're underwater too. This empty space is where I was right before I got lost. That means we're here. Yay! As a last mission, use your key to take me back in place so that I can safely land home. Ready? Let's do this! Hooray! Welcome home, Haru! The end.
This project was aimed for kids who got time to spare since they cannot go to school. And I wanted to recreate arts and craft class experience for them in a web-based environment. Before I start building the story, I wanted to check if and how to get the XYZ position of the marker and how to divide rendering scene from camera, since those were the two main things I needed. The scene division was easier than I thought. I just had to directly change some display values in AR Toolkit libraries. However, the most complex part was getting the marker position. I ended up combining 3.js for creating 3D rendering scenes, JS AR Toolkit for tracking markers, and AR Toolkit for getting a 3D camera context. With combining these three libraries, it returned the XYZ position of the marker. After that, I focused on building the story. One of the most important aspects for me in this project was to create a smooth and interesting story that computer vision aspect could blend in seamlessly. To be as inclusive as possible, I created a character without any gender, racial, able, or disabled implication, so I chose a purple starfish. Then, to represent the confusion whilst Haru is lost, I used different colors in different scenes, and on the last scene where Haru finally arrives home, the scene color matches the color of the character to represent that the character feels at home. For interaction part, to make it as engaging as possible, I made the scenes that users help, such as building boats or picking up Haru from the shore, is crucial for the story, so the user actually feels like they're helping and they're part of the story. For the animation, I first draw the scene by hand and then draw it in Illustrator and animate it with After Effects and made it into GIF so it saves loading time. I also flipped the animation because I flipped the camera on the scene before, so when rendering it flips back. For assembling the illustration, I needed 4 different layers, which are web background layer, scene background layer with camera, and marker tracking layer, and lastly, image layer that goes on top of the marker. I used different combination toggling with CSS cIndex, HTML get document, initializing in JavaScript, or uploading and importing from GitHub repository. To train a custom design marker, I used ar.js marker training website to get the PATT file on the left. For picking up and dropping off objects, I just eyeballed most of them. I roughly made a statement that if marker position is in between this X and Y position and size, which is C value, display this image or hide this image. Then it was just see if it works. If not, then go back and change some number and repeat until it's roughly in the right place. With the help from some friends with younger family members, I got some valuable user testing and feedbacks. Most of them said that they were a bit confused on how to use the markers, so I tried to add more instruction in the story after that. And I also observed that everybody had different screen ratios, and it changed some of the graphics to not fit in the right place. So I changed the CSS position to be fixed. I also learned that because of the foam reflection, the tracking is not really smooth, which made the pickup and drop off too hard. So I made the pickup and drop off to be more flexible by broadening the range. And finally, I also learned that my game is more suitable for 6 to 9-year-olds with some help from adults. To finish off, the possible future steps for this project could be more stable marker tracking, create the story further with more complex interaction for older kids, and lastly, make it into a toolkit so that other people can use it to make their own marker tracking storybooks. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. I'm gonna take it back to Joel.
Thanks, Eunah. That was awesome. I'm so excited about Eunah's future domination of the world storybook market through augmented reality markers and the adventures of a purple starfish going around the world. I think it's absolutely fantastic project, and it shows really all the aspects of what we're trying to do at CCI, which is combine art, science, and computing knowledge. So thank you so much for that, Eunah. That was absolutely fantastic. Next up, we have Max to talk about his project. So I'll hand over to Max. Take it away, Max.
Cool. Hey, I'm Max, and my final project is called Common Denominator. And it's basically a two-person web interaction that merges people's faces in real time. And the motivation behind the project was to make meeting in digital environments a bit more fun. And yeah, Tom, I have a video that I would show you guys. And yeah. Okay, cool. And now I'm going to talk about the process leading towards my final outcome. And this is also a video, and I'm just going to talk over it and kind of go through the steps of what I did. So the first 2 weeks were mainly me trying to get used to web development and sort of understanding the basic web elements and how to get a video input. And then in the next couple of weeks, I kind of started doing webcam streaming and trying to get two users to interact via webcams, basically, which sounds simple in theory, but I struggle with that quite a lot. And the second step was to kind of get face tracking going and using a system that's lightweight and uses in the web and works well in the web browser. And also isolating parts of people's faces, which I would later on merge, like you can see here, and working on toggling the axis to split the faces in different ways. And then in the next 2 weeks, I figured out how to do a single user interaction when there isn't pairs in the lobby. So if you are waiting for another person to join, you have this single user interaction, which is basically just for fun, so you don't get bored while you wait. And in the end, I also wanted to implement a database which would allow people to save the images that they create and kind of capture that moment and save it for other people to see when they log in. And this was sort of one of the last things I did before styling the overall experience. And as you can see here, the database kind of syncs between the users. And yeah, the final step was basically just styling the web page into what it is right now for everybody to use. Yeah. Thank you. I would give it back to Joel now.
Great, thanks so much, Max. Another awesome project. And now to finish up, last but not least, I'll hand you over to Bea, who's going to talk about her project.
Hello, I'm Bea. I've also got a video presentation for my project, which is called Holding Hands. Tom, if you could play it, that'd be amazing.
In a world where holding hands may transmit a deadly disease, where politicians are shaking elbows, even touching your own face is dangerous unless you have washed your hands. The solution to all of this is Holding Hands Online, a safe and virus-free way to show care by holding hands or look professional by shaking hands. You can even recreate Michelangelo's creation of Adam. Keep safe with Holding Hands Online.
So Holding Hands is a project that I started working on because of COVID and because as a class group we've found ourselves having to change brief quickly, and the brief changed to make something playful and caring. And so the one thing which I thought was missing the most during COVID as an interaction was the opportunity of holding someone's hand. And so I was wondering, well, how do we do this online? And so with the help of MediaPipe Online, which was released recently, I've found a way of doing online hand tracking and using p5.js. And that's how it all came together. I'm going to pass it back to Joel.
Great, thanks, Bea. So there is just a small selection of the 28 students that we've had on the diploma course this year. And I think those presentations from Eunah, Max and Bea really show the scope of what we're trying to do here on the diploma and in generally at CCI, which is to meld together these skills of computation, art and design to make experiences that really can help people and change the outcome of their lives. And the brief, as Bea hinted towards, was something that we had to change to quite quickly when C19 swept the world. And we thought it would really make a lot of sense to try and think about what kind of experiences we could make online. But the thing that's united all these three projects you've just seen is the use of computer vision, which is basically using digital technology to allow computers to see and make up their mind about what they can see in the world. And I think you've seen a variety of three interactions there, from holding hands to using augmented reality markers to allowing your face to be blended into others in real time. But unfortunately, today we haven't got enough time to show everyone's projects. So we thought we'd have to come up with a way of making an online showcase, as we're not currently allowed to go down to Camberwell, where we would obviously be enjoying this with all of you with a glass of champagne or non-alcoholic beverage of your choice. So with that all in mind, the students here on the diploma course have all come together to create an absolutely extraordinary online platform that was actually originally produced by the fantastic Paolo Pedicerini over at Carnegie Mellon in the States. And he was generous enough to donate the platform to us. And we've spent the last couple of weeks frantically customizing, adding to, and generally Camblifying and CCI-ifying this amazing online experience. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'm going to click over to that. And hopefully this should be coming over to you guys now. This is the online interface for the CCI show. The web address for that is diploma.cci.arts.ac.uk. So if you guys want to join up, who's that? That's Bea. Hey, Bea. Hey, Bea. I can say that, and the chat works and everything. Let's take a look and go into CCI reception. So here we've got one of our lovely security guards at CCI that welcomes you as soon as you enter. Andy's just come in as well. And you can press play up here to hear from the students about their projects, but we're just going to go on a little tour. Bea, where should we go? Where should we go now? They're all Ed's just come in. Everyone's pouring in. Andy's. I'm going to go. Let's have a look at the map. Let's see what's here on the map. So if I look at the map, I can see where we are here in the entrance. We've got Jesse, Val's, and Ria's projects on the right. We've got Sandra, Alexis, Diana's, and Martin's projects on the left. Kalish and Camille through in this room. There's a theme for each of the rooms. And if you click on the play icon below, you can see those little videos that was being shown, that the students showed before. And then if you click on them above, you can actually experience the interaction live. Now, the fantastic thing about a lot of these experiences is that they're all designed to be multiplayer, caring, playful interactions that allow you to... Oh, here we go. We've got some quotes coming up. Hey, all. Oh, look at this. We've got a little online party going on. The thing that I love about this platform is it's definitely got the 8-bit aesthetic going on. And as a younger person, I just turned 40 2 weeks ago. When I was 14, my birthday party was actually completing the game Monkey Island 2 with all my friends. So this was a real blast from the past, a real pleasure to interact with this setup that, as I said before, Paolo made. I'm going to keep on exploring around. So if I go through to reception, look at this. Look at there's so many people here. This is amazing. So cool. I'm going to go through to reception. Let's have a look in reception. Hey, security guards saying hello. I'm leading I'm racing through. Let's go through to the care room up here. We've got holding hands up here. So this is Bea's project. And then we've got Jan and Mia's projects as well. Any of these, you can click on them and it'll open a new pop-up window. I'm not going to do that now because it'll take me away from the stream. But trust me, you can go through and interact with any of these. This is the animal room where you can experience Eunah's project that you saw a little earlier, Haru's Adventure, and also the frankly extraordinary project, Boggle, by Stacey Griffiths. An incredible thing if you're a dog lover out there. There's a whole series of fantastic interactions here. And of course, we have some virtual sheep around as well. If I go through into the draw room, you can see some of the drawing interactions that we have here. Oh, I've been banned for flooding. My God, I've been booted out of my own system. This is absolutely fantastic. It's not a bug, it's a feature. So I think perhaps on that bombshell, let me try reloading. Let me see if I can go in again. Is this going to work? I've been banned. I've been banned from my own show.
No
this
way.
is absolutely tragic. This is what happens when you try to do live demos online. Let's switch it back to the chat here. We can take this as an opportunity while everyone else is going around the show.
Yeah.
We can have a little chat now amongst ourselves. So, first of all, I want to say thank you to you three for giving us the benefit of your experience here at the diploma. And Georgina, I think we were going to have a little chat now about the experiences that these guys have had. Maybe to start off with, guys, if you want to say, Eunah, maybe if you start, what course are you actually going to be going back to in September?
I'm going back to third year in BA Product Design in Central St. Martins.
Okay, Max, where are you going to be heading to?
I'm going to go back to my third year in doing the BA graphic design at Central St. Martins.
And last but not least, Bea, where are you going to be heading back to?
Final year of BA Fine Art at Central St. Martins.
So we got the CSM posse representing here tonight, but we do have students from all over UAL, and I think that's one of the real strongest points of this course and CCI in general, is that we've got people from so many different backgrounds and practices all together in this same place. So I was just going to ask you guys about if you could try and sum up this year in a few words. Eunah, how's it been for you here on the diploma?
It was really challenging and wasn't expecting much. Wasn't what I expected. It was a very great learning opportunity, but also Joel kind of trains you to become a self-teacher so that you can teach yourself to develop your own skills. But also you can get a lot of help from the community, the whole community. So it was really very challenging and also really self-developing time for me. It was an important time for me.
Thanks, Eunah. That's fantastic. Max, how's your year been here as a diplomat?
It's been really good overall, and I agree with what Eunah said, that it has been challenging at times. But I think overall I learned from that, and coming into the course, I kind of viewed coding as quite an intimidating thing, something that seemed like it was quite difficult. But once I got started and through getting taught by Joel and having all of these open resources, I actually figured out that just learning by doing is kind of the best way to go. And I think that's one of the most valuable lessons I took away from the year. And yeah, overall, it's been really, really good. I enjoyed it.
Great. And just to finish up with Bea, how was your year?
Well, I have to agree with everyone that it was a challenging year, even without COVID. But what I found amazing of this course, coming from a fine art background, and it's something that I experienced in the first few months of being at, is that you don't have to conform to your background. Like at CCI, I had the opportunity of exploring something that might be seen more as a design-based project rather than keeping it to your fine art roots or whatever course roots you're coming from. And so that's something that I treasure quite a lot. And another part that I found quite eye-opening about the course was looking into the ethics of AI and also speculative design, which was something I'd never heard of before, which I was introduced thanks to this course. Yeah, overall it was awesome.
Oh, you guys are making me well up. This is so beautiful. I think that's a really important point that all three of you raise, is that there's this idea of, it's not that one of the things that's important to realize about the diploma is it's not just about teaching you coding, right? It's not just about that. There's 101 resources online to teach yourself coding. I think the thing that we've been really keen to produce at CCI is this welcoming community that's open to people of all backgrounds and whatever kind of practice you're engaged in, to give you that ability to shape the practice the way that you want to shape it, and introduce you to some things that you might not be familiar with before. So as Bea said, this idea of thinking about speculative futures. But another big part of the course is with my fellow tutor, Alex Fafega, who's really done a lot of work in the space around the ethics of machine learning and thinking about how to be critical in that space. I think another thing that we've really tried to do is to switch it from, you think you're a product designer or you think you're a fine artist. Well, try this hat on for a little moment. It's a kind of a glorious Mr. Ben world for those of you who grew up in the 80s, where you can try things on, try them out, experiment them in a safe space, and then see how that works. I think that's something. Carry on, Georgina.
No, on that note, I was about to say, maybe it would be interesting to hear how you guys see your creative practice being transformed after this year, because you all come from like a very different background. How do you see all the skills and things you've learned at the CCI having like a play on your own practice? You want to start, Eunah, maybe?
I come from product design, so it is very much of a commercial, very led design practice. But through learning from CCI and also learning like design ethics or general ethics in technology, I am leaning more towards into participatory design, so that I am focusing more on the emphasis of including user into the design process and designing something that is actually useful for people, not just for designers themselves.
Nice one. What about you, Max?
I think it's similar for me coming from graphic design. I think at the end of this year, the overall way I would describe my discipline has kind of blurred, or at least my interests, because this year has kind of introduced interaction into my work, and also the web, and like how you can design websites and web-based interactions, as well as a little bit of physical computing. And so I think overall, I've sort of moved out of my comfort zone of what I described graphic design, and something that I thought that I believed and I was good at, and kind of pushed myself into doing something that I wasn't good at. And it turned out to actually not only extend my overall skill set, but also extend my range of interests. And I think that's very valuable.
Very nice. What about you, Bea?
I think I'm going to tag along with a few things that Max has said, in the way that I feel my practice has been completely dismantled, and I'll have to put the pieces back together, but it's not in a bad way, obviously. It's as a creative, I'm sure it's meant to happen.
Sure.
And especially with fine arts, I felt like this year has given an opportunity of saying, okay, what am I doing with my practice, and where does my practice fit within technology, which isn't something I considered as much before. And also what about speculative design, which has become something I've become more and more interested in, and how can I integrate that within my artistic practice? So these are going to be questions or thoughts that I'm going to bring with myself into my third year.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I guess now it's just like a time for us to really see if anyone in the audience have any questions that maybe they want us to answer, or any comments. Feel free to share it on the chat below or on the site. And yeah, if there's anything that you guys on the stream want to share, it's the time to do it.
For
Go ahead, Bea.
For anyone who's planning to do the diploma next year, just a word of advice: like, make use of all the resources you have, because they're epic and get to know the people you're working with, because obviously you've got that 1 year together and then you're going back to your own courses. And I think that's like one of the most special things about CCI is the opportunity of collaboration, which I've spent 5 years at UAL now, and I've never felt such a big sense of collaboration that I have in CCI.
That's amazing.
You guys are going to make me cry. This has been this is the bet that's been going on in the background. It's like, how long is it going to take Joel for blood to start blubbing, like he always does? I think one thing I'd like to say is just to pick up on, I think that what you guys said about this idea of self-teaching, or kind of to use the technical term, this idea of being an autodidact, right? Someone who can teach themselves. And I think that's one of the most critical aspects of what we're trying to do on the diploma and to the CCI wider, is to give people the tools and the skills and the opportunities to then make their own practice. And that's a word that's come up in throughout this stream, right? This idea of practice. And I think that's a really powerful and important thing to think about. And it's also the clues in the name, right? You have to keep, it's not something you can blag or just come up with a great idea. It's about practice, it's about repetition, and it's about developing that your craft and your stance, as it were, to appreciate and think about which direction you want to go in. And also this idea of care and play, right? These are the two things that we've worked out as humans, which are sustainable activities. And I think that's something that we're really trying to focus on here at CCI, is thinking about how we can make caring experiences and how we can make playful experiences. And that's really, really essential. And this is, I think that's something that all of the projects that you'll be able to see on the diploma website will showcase those kind of things. Have we got any questions from the stream?
We do actually, Joel.
Oh, amazing.
We have a question from a student that will join us next year for the diploma. Amazing. And they're asking, what can they do over the summer just to get a head start with the diploma as a complete beginner?
Well, there's lots of fantastic resources out there. I'd give a particular shout out to someone who's a bit of a hero of all of us on the diploma, which is Daniel Schiffman's quite extraordinary YouTube channel, The Coding Train. Dan is a friend and a colleague who works over at the ITP school, part of NYU, over on the East Coast in the States. And his course is there's a series of those for free on his YouTube channel that you can check out. And I would be derelict to say if I didn't suggest some of the CCI courses as well. I think, Georgina, you could tell us about some of those. What are the platforms out there where you can get some of the teaching from the CCI staff right now?
Yeah, so we have, I think it's over 8 online courses that are free on Future Learn. We're going to paste the link on the chat now so you can have a look, but that's like a great way of engaging with a wider range of topics that we've covered, including designing a feminist chatbot, creative AI, expressive video games. There's like plenty of them online. So yeah, totally recommend having a look at that as well.
And that's also
yeah,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's also a great way. It's a great way of getting to know some of the different people that are based here at the CCI. And that's another one of the strengths that Bea said. Take advantage of your time. As these students will be able to tell you, this year will go so fast. I can't believe how quickly it's gone. And I can't believe the progress that all of these students have made. I can't wait to see where they get to. But what is the question for the stream from the stream?
Yeah, so we have another one that says, did anyone get into TensorFlow?
Oh, yes. So yeah, well, I'll let you guys talk. Who used TensorFlow in their projects? Go ahead, Bea.
So I used TensorFlow right at the start, at our first brief, where I used TensorFlow to train snoring noises. So I did a load of.
You have to explain. You have to explain the motivation, Bea. You have to say why you do.
So basically, I was building a machine that, when it detected snoring, it would whistle because of like an urban legend says that if you whistle to a snoring person, they'll stop snoring. And so I was making this machine that, when it detected snoring noises, it would whistle and so hopefully stop the person from snoring, so that it could then be developed to have it as headphones. So if you sleep with a snoring person, it wouldn't disturb you as much. And so I used TensorFlow to train it to snoring noises, and it did an excellent job.
So I should say that machine learning is a major part of what we do at the CCI in general, but also a big part of what happens on the diploma. And I think if you heard some of the students before talking about this platform P5JS, which is this JavaScript version of processing, this fantastic tool that was designed to make it easy for people from non-computer science backgrounds to get into coding and computational thinking. There's now a machine learning equivalent of that called ML5.js, which has come, which is built on top of TensorFlow, and that's one of the major platforms that we use on the diploma to allow people to start thinking critically and creatively about some of these machine learning libraries and platforms that are out there. Have we got any more questions? I can't wait.
Yes, we have one from Caroline. It says, what kind of physical computing work do you do on the diploma?
Oh, well, Max or Eunah, you did an amazing physical computing project. Why don't you say about some of the physical computing stuff that you've learned on this course?
Yeah, for us, we did it on our first term, we learned, and second. So my first project was to build a mini robot hand that clicks a button of the scanner when the stacked stone on top of the scanner is fallen. I'm crappy at explaining it, but I'm sorry.
You're very good.
We learned Arduino, and we basically went through all the PDF Arduino book through the course, like the beginning. And what's great about this course is that you get all the resources that you need. You can like rent Arduino, and if you have any other requirements or like other resources that you want, like sound detector or anything else, you can ask if you can borrow it. And there's like hundreds of other like gadgets that you can like rent. And yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, Arduino's probably our primary physical computing platform that we teach during the diploma. And there's a whole series of experts around physical computing that are here within the CCI family. Phoenix Perry is obviously an absolute star in the physical computing and gaming community. And she's someone that's really pushed through physical computing through everything that we do at CCI.
Amazing. I think that's all in terms of questions. We have someone asking if the show is going to be up for a long time. Is that
forever?
Like something
it will be there.
It
will be there forever.
Nice.
Forever.
Yes.
No, it's going to be up there for the whole of the summer, and then we're going to get round to making that a showcase for the next year of diplomats. But I'm sure we'll get it archived somewhere beautifully. The other thing I should say is it's a completely online and open source platform that Paolo Pediccirini has been so generous in open sourcing. So if you take a look at this platform and you'd like to use it for yourself, go ahead. It's available on GitHub. I think there's links on the site for how to get to that, and we'll put that up in the chat as well. I think it's time now to transition over to the outro, because we've taken up a huge amount of everyone's time here in this joyful celebration of everyone at the CCI Diploma for their first year, the inaugural year. I can't believe it's already happened. I would be derelict in my duty if I didn't thank some of the people that have made this year possible. Paolo Pediccirini, I've shouted you out twice. I'm going to make it 3 times the charm. Thank you so much for making Like Online, which was the original platform that we've used to make this online show. So thanks so much for being so generous for that, Paolo. I'd like to thank again my fellow tutors on the diploma, Alex Fafega, Julia Makovic, and Matthew Plummer Fernandez, for being so incredible and generous with their times and making this diploma such an extraordinary experience. I'd like to thank Ben Stouffer for getting us into this whole mess in the first place and making the CCI happen. I'd like to thank Ben Kelly, Kathy Host, and Melissa Simpson for making the CCI run like an absolute dream. I'd like to thank Jesse, Max, Bea, Jan, Eunah, and Stacey for coming together to make the show happen in the last 2 weeks. After you finished your exams and all the other work you did, you donated your time to this project, and all the other fellow students from the diploma, I'm sure, will be thanking you as well. I'd like to give a shout out to Mixmaster Lorenk for making the music that accompanies everything on the Diploma Show. I'd like to make huge thanks to Tom Lynch and Matt Jarvis for making the stream happen and the server and everything working technically at the CCI. And finally to my hostess with the mostest, Georgina, for hosting us here so generously. Thank you so much, and I'll leave it to you to outro everything. Georgina, thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks everyone for joining us. It's been amazing to share this space with you. I guess, yeah, now just a bit of information about the CCI. If you have any questions or want to find out more about the courses that we do, you can visit our website, and also we are on email cci@arts.ac.uk. So feel free to email us if you have any questions or comments. And also make sure that you follow us on social media, Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we have plenty of sessions that will be running during the summer and also in September and October when we're back. Actually, we have an amazing school club session next week on Tuesday, which is about using code blocks for 3D design. So if you're interested, feel free to join us. It's on our Eventbrite. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon on the internet. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everyone for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. You rock.
Have a lovely weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.